Look, assessment is really important. It drives a lot of learning these days. There might have been a time 20 or 30 years ago when you could just set texts to read and to think about and students would do it. Today, I feel you have to drive students through what you want them to do with assessment.
The way in which we make sure they get to where they're supposed to be is through effective assessments and constructive feedback.
Assessment can, particularly in first year, can also reveal what students can and can't do around written expression. And so there's a real opportunity there for the students to teach you what they don't understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about constructive alignment and creating learning outcomes that fit the assessment, and I do think that's important. I do think students need to know where things are going and know what they're being assessed on, and it needs to be clear and understandable for them.
But to really get a feel for how they're doing an assessment or how they're understanding the subject, you've got to set the assessment in such a way that it actually leads towards those final learning objectives.
I think making it interesting, making it something applied, making it something that they can engage with.
And it needs to be an experience. It shouldn't just be something that tests and puts them in a hierarchy and a benchmark, gives them marks. It should also be something where they've experienced something that's valuable.
I'm really enjoying creating some authentic assessment items. So as I said, my background is very much a clinician focus, so I love to draw in what are the contemporary issues in nursing today and sort of draw that into my assessment item.
We either have 4 or 5, they're multiple choice online assignments. We have them constructed from a database. So the first assignment, they might only see 20 questions, but it comes from 600 questions. So they're essentially randomized. Every student has a nearly different set of questions.
So it's about academics and students forming these kind of mutually beneficial relationships called, respectful partnerships that it's a learning journey together. And so we kind of threw this one assessment task open, and instead of it being stand up in front of the class and give a 5-minute presentation, we actually researched the assignment together, and the students led the classroom around a particular topic for a week.
For example, you can have them film themselves doing, particularly our financial planning courses, doing an interview with a client as an assessable item.
So how do we escalate patient care? This is what's being done in hospitals, this is what's being done clinically today. So I've drawn that into an assessment item for our 3rd year undergraduate students. So they have to ring me as the academic and give me a clinical handover of a clinical case study that I have previously presented them. So that's completely authentic, it's exactly what they'll be doing in the real world. So we give them a trial run, and it is an assessment item, and they really engage with that. The feedback's been tremendous. I say it's the first assessment that actually is meaningful to us.
If each of the students' tests has different questions, that's a little bit of insurance that they're not all sitting together doing the same 20 questions. They might have 5 or 6 members sitting together working through 6 versions of 20 questions. To some extent, I don't mind about that because they're working together as a team, learning to solve problems, and they learn better that way.
I spent a lot of time in the library with some of those students. And the quality of their academic engagement was amazing in that semester, and it's really carried them through their whole university career.
It's always good to offer an early, low-stakes assessment item. So the first assessment item that I offer is at the end of week 3. I want to get rid of students' anxieties. I give it over a period of 4 days. It's an open book. Students can do that online.
So for example, if you're doing an essay, first assignment, get them to write an introduction and a reference list, something like that. You read it, give them feedback about it, they go back, and that introduction becomes the introduction to their major piece of work. Makes life easier for you because you've got, you know, it's potentially less marking, and it makes life easier for them, and hopefully you know, it helps them. Hopefully it helps improve their work.
They get intensive feedback of both a knowledge and a technical nature. How to do this? Are they getting the questions right, for example? They use that then as a springboard for their second assignment, which is in about week 9.
So if I had a technique for setting assessments, it really is keep it very simple.